So my peeps, Joshua Smith here with another Leveling Up here live in the studio, GSD Studios. So today, you guys, I want to talk to you about something really important. And those of you, if this is your first experience here with me on Leveling Up with Joshua Smith, each week I do an episode talking about leveling up in life. What is leveling up in life? When I was, rewind the clock 12 years ago, right? So when I was depressed, thinking about committing suicide every single day, ultimately when I made the choice to overcome that depression, to create an epic, amazing, badass life for myself, what I realized was that all of my depression, all of my unfulfillment, all of my unhappiness, if you will, was created from knowing that my potential was like way up here, right? So knowing my potential was extremely high, but I'm operating way down here. I wasn't operating at my best self. I wasn't taking action every single day to level up, to operate at my full potential, even though deep down, subconsciously, I knew I had a high potential. Us as human beings, we're born with infinite potential, dude, right? So you have all the potential that exists on the planet, and when we're not taking daily action, daily steps to get to the point where we operate at our own personal full potential, that's what creates all the unfulfillment, dude. I know there's other types of depression out there that might be through a chemical imbalance. But I'm here to say and argue. I'm not a doctor by any means, but in my experience, and we're talking with thousands of people about this subject, the vast majority are of depression cases is 100% because your potential is way up here. You're operating down here. You know you're capable of more. Consciously or subconsciously, you're choosing to not level up, and it's creating this internal battle, this internal war. So every single week, I come to you live. We talk to you about different things that I'm doing, different experiences that I've went through personally to level up over the years, and things that I'm leveling up with today. Success, one of my favorite quotes out there is, success is never owned. It's rented, and the rent is due every single day. So it's not one of those things where like, oh, boom, you've hit your potential and you're good leveling up, like you just get to go to chill mode. Nah, dude, it's a constant process every day, every week, every month, every year until it's game over. Right? Until we leave this planet, we got to constantly be leveling up. In this world, two things are happening. You're either growing or you're dying, right? So when people tell me, oh, Josh, I'm just searching for stability. I just want a stable relationship. I just want a stable job. I want a stable income. I'm like, good luck with a life of mediocrity. Today, 97% of people live and die amid mediocrity. And that's the topic that I'm hitting on today, right? Mediocrity, average, and how you must learn to avoid it like a disease. You got to learn to avoid mediocrity and avoid average like it's the frickin' plague. You can't allow it to happen in any aspect of your life. And I don't mean just by yourself. You can never accept mediocrity from yourself, right? But I'm talking from everything else. People that you surround yourself by, just average activities. You've got to learn to guard your focus if your life depends on it, because it absolutely does, and to just piece yourself out with mediocrity. So I got a few stats here that I just want to point out to you how scary average is. Because you might be looking at this like, well, dude, if I just lived an average life, it wouldn't be that bad, right? Well, here's the reality of it. Average is way worse than you think, right? People do a really good job at creating a perceived distortion of reality, this perception of reality that doesn't exist. You see the neighbor down the street that keeps buying these badass nice cars, right? And you kind of wonder to yourself, well, how do they make that happen? And then you get this pressure because the whole keeping up with the Joneses, which is the lamest, dumbest, scariest freaking game to play on this planet. But your neighbor gets a new car, so you want to go level up with them in the new car category, right? So when I talk about leveling up, it's not keeping up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses is the opposite of leveling up in life. Keeping up with the Joneses is a mediocre mindset. Right? You can never become uber successful in life by keeping up with the Joneses. Let them go buy those cars, right? The difference that you're going to stash away to be able to go invest, to start buying apartment buildings and houses or any type of investment you choose to invest in will make or break the difference with them. But here's some stats on average, you guys. So, and I just some of these I just came across, and that's kind of part of the reason I was inspired to create this show. Only 2% of Americans, so today, right now, 2015, only 2% of Americans can retire at the age of 65 without being dependent on family. Like that's not, I mean, that's after Social Security, that's after their retirement, that's after all said and done. Only 2% can go out there and retire without being reliant on their kids to take care of them. So one thing I get criticized a lot by only average mediocre people. It's funny, I never get criticized from my uber successful friends and mentors, right? Because they get it, they play the game. The average will criticize you to try to knock you off your pedestal to make them feel better about themselves, right? So they'll criticize you about, oh, Josh, dude, why do you work so hard? Don't you want to see your kids? Don't you care about your kids? I'm like, yeah, I work so freaking hard because I do care about my kids. Right? Like I'm here to create a family economy for my kids. So then that, because I'm not going to be reliant on college. College is a scam. I'm not going to be reliant on college. I'm not going to be reliant on the government or corporate America to create opportunities for my kids. I'm going to go out there and create our own family economy where my kids can then work in. And then now I've created a business, an environment where I get to chill with my kids and my family every single day for the rest of my freaking life because I never plan on retiring. You know, right? I'll be the homeboy that's rolling in here doing Leveling Up podcasts with you guys with my walker, like at 95 years old, like, what's up, motherfuckers? So you got to adopt a different mindset, dude. Less than 20% of Americans make over $100,000 a year. So 80% make under $100,000 a year. 75% of Americans are overweight. 40% are obese, right? So over 75% of Americans, dude, are overweight. Like that's scary shit, right? 80% hate their job, unfulfilled with their job. So they go to a job every single day that they hate. They hate their job. They can't stand their coworkers. Every day they're just unfulfilled as shit. We got to wear an outfit that we don't like, right? Like I had to rock a monkey suit for 8 years. I shouldn't dock on the. I like wearing a suit here and there. You probably won't see me in the studio wearing a suit, but I do enjoy it here and there. I did it because I chose to, not because I necessarily had to. But anyway, people are wearing clothes that they hate, going to a job that they hate, and being around coworkers that they can't stand, being involved in meetings that they can't like. I mean, this is what average is, you guys. 74% of Americans today operate from paycheck to paycheck. Meaning if they lose their job, they are now immediately reliant on government aid. They have no savings. And again, the stat I opened that with was only 2%. So 98% of Americans by the age of 65 years old cannot retire without being dependent on their family. So then you're like, oh, Josh, don't you care about your kids? Yeah, I care about my kids enough to let my kids go out there and take their hard-earned working money and invest that back into what they want to do and have the fun that they want to have and into their own freaking families. I'm not going to have my kids are freaking reliant to float me because I was too irresponsible and too much of a lazy freaking coward to go out there and create opportunities for myself because I couldn't, take care of my own self, just like if I get to the point where I have to wear like adult diapers and it depends, right? Like I'm not gonna make my kids wipe my own ass, dude, just because I wipe their ass. Like I'm gonna be able to employ a freaking nursing home or something of my own funds and not make my kids responsible for that, so I can put that task on them. Kind of getting sidetracked here, but put that task on them. So because I do care about my kids. The last thing that they need to do is float dad or mom, right? Dad will freaking create wealth for dad, right? So I'm going to go out there and float and hopefully build a mega empire that then my kids can be involved in and maybe my grandkids, and I can spend more time with them on a daily basis. So just think about that. Your average American from the age of 18 to 65 years old, gets up in the morning, 8 a.m., whatever time they get up, goes to the office, unfulfilled all freaking day long, comes home unfulfilled, job that they hate, every day just repeat till they're 65, and still 98% of them at that age can't retire. And then what happens is their job, the business that they're in, ends up giving them the cut even though they may not be ready to retire because they quit self-developing, they quit adding values, adding skills to their life, they quit reading after high school or college. When I say college is a scam, that's why I think it's a scam, right? Because number one, it preps you the wrong way for the real world. I just did a podcast with Sean Lynham, and he said it perfectly. He's like, entrepreneurship is like MMA fighting. Like I can't become a badass MMA fighter by reading books and watching it onto the TV. Like, I got to get in the ring and start fighting. Like, I got to get my ass whooped, right? So college just prepares us for the real world, to go out there and be prepared for the world that we live in. And most, when they get done with college, they don't keep that continual self-development. You must become obsessed in that self-development, which I know we talk about a lot on the show. So where I'm going at this is, there's nothing about average that's sexy. There's nothing about average that's good. You don't want to be average. Your average household income is like 55, 60 G's a year. I mean, paycheck to paycheck. Again, they lose their job. They're reliant on government aid. You don't want that, dude. So how do you get out of it, right? So if you're at that point in your life, you're like, oh, shit, maybe you're listening to this right now, and you're like, oh, crap, I don't want to be average anymore. I want to be great. Right? I don't even want to be good. I want to be average. You got your lazy assholes that are way down here that are just going to be a leech on society and force us to take care of them, which is fine. They exist. Then you got your average that's in here. Then you got your good. It's kind of your upper middle class, people that maybe bank in the 150 to $200-300 grand a year or whatever. That's good. Well, good's the worst enemy to great. And then you're like, oh, I want to be great. Like, I want to live an epic, amazing life. Less than 3% of society ever gets to living what they call a great life, living in that greatness, right? And it's because the only way to get there is to overcome your fears, be uncomfortable. If you're searching comfort, you'll always be living amongst a mediocrity. So again, how do I get there? So, and I got a few steps I want to go through with you guys. Six steps, 6 recommendations that have helped me, but continue to help me. There's something, again, success isn't owned, it's rented, and the rent's due every single day. It's like, if I go into the gym, like, I used to be huge, like 280 pounds, dude, lost 118 pounds. I still have to go to the gym every single day. I still eat 6 clean meals every single day. Maybe I take one day off a week where I indulge and allow myself to kind of reward myself. But 6 days a week, I eat super clean. The second I stop that, it all goes away. All that hard work that I put into it goes away. So it's never one of those things where you're not. It's always continual work. Is where I'm trying to get at with this, right? So if you're ready in that life, if you're at that point in your life where you're like, all right, dude, I'm going to draw the line in the sand now, which is what I had to do. Okay, dude, I'm here. I'm sick of living this way. I'm going to draw the line in the sand, and I am going to create a great life. That's it, dude. I will no longer tolerate mediocrity of myself, because what's going to happen is your bank account is going to still show mediocre results for some time. Like, where you're at right now is based on your past behaviors. All this stuff takes time, dude. It might take a year of you kicking ass and crushing it before you start seeing a huge noticeable difference, before your family and other people around you start seeing a noticeable difference. So number one, like, you just got to choose. Okay, right now, today is going to be the day where I draw the line in the sand. I don't want to be average. I want to become great. You only have one shot at this life. Like, why the hell wouldn't you want to create the best life you possibly could with this one short existence that you have? If you choose not to, that's okay. I'm not here to judge you on that, but what I can promise you is you're going to die with a heavy heart of regret. So it's your choice, right? So step number one, I've got 6 steps that I'm going to go through with you guys here on this episode. 6 steps. Get out your pens and papers. Write this stuff down. So 6 steps of starting to get out of mediocrity. So 6 steps. Number 1, get clarity. You got to get crystal clear on what you guys want. Like, you've got to get clarity on, and it's very difficult in the beginning to sit there and say, well, what do I want? What exactly do I want out of life? What get clarity on what you want. In the beginning, I know I had a very difficult time. For me, it was, I don't know what I want, but I definitely know what I don't want, right? So at least get clarity on what you don't want. Better yet, if you can, get clarity on what you want. What do I want for my health? What's the outcome that I want for my business? What's the outcome that I want with my family? I get clarity on what you want. You got to do it. Well, like the people that are like, oh, dude, I don't want to work so hard because I want to see my kids grow up, cop out. I had a guy approach me not too long ago, and it's like, oh, Josh, like, you got to quit working so much. You got to be there for your kids. Like, I've got a horrible relationship with my kid. My kid's getting ready to go to, whatever. And they was talking about how they argue. And I didn't say it because I'm not that much of an asshole. I try to be a very polite and at least in person, but I didn't say it. But it's like, dude, look, that is just a cop out. That's just a limiting belief. That's just a freaking cop out. The reason that your relationship sucks with your kid is because you've chosen a shitty relationship. The outcome that you wanted with your, maybe wanted not consciously, but the outcome that you chose to have with your kid was a shitty relationship. Working 80 hours a week is irrelevant. Right? If there's 168 hours a week, I work 80. Maybe I sleep 6 hours a night and I work out 7 hours a day. Or 7 hours a week. That leaves me with almost 40 hours. That's 39 hours left over a week to work on those relationships. So get clarity on that. So like for me with fatherhood, like I've got 3 little kids. What kind of relationship do I want with my kids? But what kind of environment though do I want? Like I choose, my wife and I choose that she's going to stay at home with the kids. We create an environment where she's there. Now I get that not everybody's in a position to do that. That's okay if you're not. We weren't in the beginning either. My wife worked in the beginning either, but we made that happen. We made the sacrifices to make that happen. Number 2, I've got clarity on the kind of opportunities that I want to provide for my kids. Right? So if they do want to, if my daughter does want to become a doctor and needs, and she wants to become, let's say, a radiologist and has to go through 16 years of school, I am not going to allow her to get herself in that much debt for going out there and sacrificing 16 years of her life so she can go out there and save lives. Right? I want to be in a position where I can provide those opportunities. So I have clarity, like exact clarity on the exact relationship I want to have with my kids. Right, to the exact environment I want them to grow up around, and I get to work at it, right? So get clarity on what it is that you want with your business, every aspect of it. You got to get crystal clear on what it is that you want. What does that income look like? Maybe it's 10 grand a month. Maybe it's 50 grand a month. Maybe you're like, dude, I want to be banking, netting after expenses, 50 G's a month. That's 600 G's a year. That's what I want to be netting. Right? So then that brings us into number 2. But all of these kind of parlay off of each other. Like if you don't have number 1, the rest of them don't matter. Like if you don't have clarity on what it is that you want, it's impossible to make the correct decisions to go out there and start making those correct decisions to take action to make those outcomes a reality. So number 2 is eliminate everything that conflicts. Like that's step number 2. Okay, here's the outcome that I want. Then step number 2 is I'm going to eliminate everything that conflicts with the outcome that I want. You got to quit being so generous with your time. Every time you say yes to anything that does not align with the outcome that you want, you're saying no to your own agenda and yes to somebody else's. So from people to activities to things, like if the outcome that I want for my health is optimal energy, which it is, I have to say no to a lot of shit. Right? There's a lot of food that I can't eat, even though I may enjoy it. There's a lot of things that I have to say no to. But how can I say yes or no to any type of nutrients if I don't have a clarity on that outcome? Right? If my business outcomes, if I don't have clarity on the exact business outcomes I want, what do I know to say yes and to say no to? But now I say no to way more things than I say yes to. If it does not get me one step closer to the outcome that I want, I say no to it. And that's from people, that's from relationships. Like if the outcome that you want is to have an epic, awesome marriage, you have to say no to hanging out with people with a shitty marriage. I don't care if it's your best friend, dude. If every time you guys hang out, all you guys are fighting, hang out with your best friend like on your own time, but that will spill over into your world, right? If you want to get in epic shape, but you're hanging out with obese friends, if you hang out with if your best friend, the person you spend the most time with is obese, you increase your chances of becoming obese by 125%. Right? So you've got to, and it gets hardcore. I'm not saying cut them off completely as friends. What I'm saying is you got to start getting around some people that have the outcomes that you want, because when I'm hanging out with that person, what are they going to want to do with their time? They're going to want to go hiking, or they want to go eat ice cream. Right? I can't be in an environment where I'm going to eat ice cream. I've got to remove myself from those kind of environments to get the outcome that I want. Just like it, I don't care if I have some old friends that I grew up with and all they want to do is every single weekend is grill out, have beers, and then hash and tell a bunch of drunken half truths about the way the past was. Well, why do I want to partake in that? I'm not here to freaking partake in a bunch of bullshit that happened in the past. I'm here to talk about strategy of what we can go out there and do to freaking crush it in the future. Like just because you had a common past with somebody, a shared past with somebody doesn't mean that they're going to have a common future together, right? So you've got to eliminate everything and anything that conflicts with the outcome that you want. Step number 3, got to work your ass off, right? Sorry, it just doesn't come any other way. You've got to learn to work your ass off. If my competition, if everybody else is out there working, so your average American right now works 37 hours a week. It's at 37 hours a week, right? Best way, easiest way to become great is work 80 hours. If I work 80 hours and they're working 37 hours, right? So I'm working 43 more hours a week than them. I'm working over double what they're able to work. Even if they're better than me right now. I don't care how shitty you suck, right? Like, you can be the worst person in your field at your task. If they're working 37 hours a week and you're working 80, it's not going to take too long for you to catch them. And then you're going to whoop them, right? It's just how it goes. It's just simple math. You will catch other human beings that are working half as much as you are, right? You got to put in the hustle. The way I define entrepreneurship, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into entrepreneurship, but it's the way I look at it is I'm willing to sacrifice a certain amount of my life. I'm going to live like nobody else for a certain amount of my life, so then I can live the rest of my life like nobody else is able to live, right? Like success is being willing to sacrifice some time of pain. Like, you're going to go through some pain to live a lifetime of glory, right? And what that pain is will depend on you and depend on your learning curve. For me, I'm a slow learner, dude. I'm not the smartest cat. So I'm a slow learner. I mean, I've been at this entrepreneur thing for 10 years, right? So other people that I know figured out in 4 or 5 years. For me, it's taken over 10. But now life's pretty freaking epic, but I'm not chilling. I'm not accepting what I've created. I'm always wanting to level it up. Okay, I'm here. Let me figure out how I can double this in 6 months, triple this, get to that next level in life. But you got to be willing to sacrifice a portion of your life. And again, depending on how quick of a learner you are, which probably has more to do with it than anything, right? How quick of a learner that you are. It's not how tough you are. It's how quickly you learn. How quickly you implement, how quickly you learn is way more of a key than how tough you are. You can be a wuss, dude. Like Warren Buffett, for example, he absolutely despises and hates being criticized. Well, like, he can't take it. He can't take if he displeases somebody or somebody's mad at him, he can't take it, right? When you look like a Donald Trump, who probably is like the thickest skin out there, that homeboy don't care, right? But Warren Buffett's wealth is a lot more. They're both brilliant guys, but what I'm saying is how quickly you learn has more to do with how mentally tough or physically tough you are. So you got to be willing to work your ass off. Never going to come without that. Number 4, so let me recap. Number 1, get clarity. Number 2, eliminate everything that conflicts. Number 3, work your ass off. Number 4, reflect daily. Like, this is daily stuff, dude. You can't, people that business plan and that goal set yearly, quarterly, whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't set business plans ever. I haven't written a business plan in years. I used to. When I needed a good way to waste frickin' time, I used to sit there and business plan. It made me feel good. I was taking action, but really I was just mentally masturbating on paper, and none of it came to fruition. I believe in daily reflection, right? If I'm looking at my goals, my visions, where I want to be, what the outcome is that I want to hit the next level, and the second I reach it, of course, I'm going to raise the bar to the next level. But I got to pay attention to that shit daily. Every single day, I'm journaling everything I was involved in, from when my alarm goes off, how many times I hit snooze, to what food I consumed in my body, to my self-development, to every activity I was involved in my work. And I'm reflecting, hey, how'd I do? Can I get more effective and efficient? Was everything I involved in give me one step closer to my outcome that I want to achieve? Yes or no? And if no, it goes back to step number 2 with elimination. I learned from that. You've got to be willing to learn every single day. And like I said with the previous point of working your ass off, how quickly you become successful is how quickly you learn. Right? It's not how tough you are. Being tough is a critical element to it too. Don't get me wrong, but it's more dependent on how quickly you learn. Well, I used to not reflect daily. So when I said it's taken me 10 years to figure this out, well, it took me 8 of those years to figure out that I need to be reflecting daily, right? So, but since I've been reflecting daily, my learning curve is short as shit now, right? So in the next 6 months, I'll duplicate what it took me the last 10 years to do. right? So that's the critical component of daily reflection. Every single day, at 6 p.m. to 6:20 p.m. every single day, my alarm goes off on my phone, and I look through every single task I was involved in. Does this get me one step closer to my outcome? Yes or no? Can I become more effective and more efficient on this? And I start planning out my next day. Number 5, the 5th step, grow daily. Part of that, you're going to grow in your reflection time, right? You're always going to be reflecting on your performance. So you're always looking at that. I always ask myself certain questions like, hey, if those that depend on me in life, like my kids and my wife, if they shadowed me today at work, work in the office, would they be satisfied or would they be pissed off? Would they be displeased with my performance, right? So I'm always asking myself certain questions like that to make sure that I'm leading by example and being the man that I know I'm supposed to be. And then daily growth. Right, you've got to take your growth so ungodly seriously. So that reflection growth is going to happen in the reflection. Each activity that you do, because you're always going to be pushing yourself, challenging yourself. You should always be learning. Every single day, when you wake up tomorrow, you should be better than you were when you woke up today. Now, it might be this tiny, insignificant, like immeasurable amount, but you should be a little bit better. You should have learned a new freaking task today that you didn't know yesterday. You're a little bit better. You've added a little bit more value to your life that you're going to transfer the marketplace, and that's how you make more money. The amount of money that you make right now is 100% just the perception of the marketplace is what they see the value of you being for your time. That's it. So every single day I'm doing that. So what do I do? What are things that I do? Well, I integrate. A huge guy believing in integration, right? So with integration, so I get up in the morning, my iPhone goes off. 3:30 in the morning, I slap on my earbuds, my earphones right then and there, start streaming audiobooks. 2x speed, like I'm streaming audiobooks, and I hit the gym and I'm self-developing at the gym, streaming audiobooks. When I drive in the car, I'm streaming audiobooks. As much as I want to listen to radio and other things, no, dude, I'm doing only things that align with the outcome that I want. Right, so I get hardcore with that, filling my mind with the right information from the right people that I can level up on. Listening to podcasts. There's a great podcast to be listening to while you're at the gym, while you're driving, while you're doing activities. Dude, go out in the weekend. Like when I go out in the weekend, I'm picking up dog shit in the backyard and doing yard work, whatever it may be. I'm listening to things that are growing my mind, putting me in a better spot. Self-development and daily growth is absolutely critical. You are either dying or you're growing in this lifetime. So it's absolutely critical to always be self-developing and growing yourself daily. And I recommend, you guys, if you want to become great and great quickly, 2 hours minimum every single day. Oh, Josh, dude, I don't have time for 2 hours of self-development every single day. Well, your average American watches 4.7 hours of TV a day. That's 2 months off the calendar a year. Again, success in elimination. If you just cut out all that shit, cut out the Facebook, the freaking Candy Crush, the TV shows, all the crap, the procrastination, the laziness. Pretty soon you'll be like, oh man, I got all this extra time that I wasn't aware that I had, and you'll be absolutely shocked. So you have the time. Are you just going to choose to take the time to do it, yes or no? And if you're not, you're probably not going to ever live a great life. So number 5 is daily growth. All right, so number 6, this is an important one, right? So before I get into number 6, let me just recap these real quick. So number 1, get clarity on the outcome that you want. Get crystal clear. Number 2, eliminate everything that conflicts with the outcome that you want. Number 4, you're going to reflect daily. Number 5, daily growth, daily self-development. And here's another point that's important on number 5. You guys can't see this because my whiteboard's behind where this camera is, but I have up there mastery focus. So right now I have 2 things up there. And only 2 things. So all of my self-development is about 2 things and 2 things only until I master those. And then I'm going to be on another mastery task, right? So I'm going to become the best person. I'm so focused on mastery, becoming the best person in that space that I need to become the best person in that space at. I get laser focused there, and I immerse myself within self-development in those areas. So I'm not saying, people will be like, oh, dude, I read all these books. I'm like, well, what's that book doing for you, dude? It has nothing to do with the outcome that you want. Like if the outcome that you want is to make more money and lose weight, I get reading Deepak Chopra is fun, but that becomes entertainment, right? Oh, Josh, you just didn't bash Deepak Chopra. No, dude, I like Deepak, man. He puts out some good stuff. I've read a lot of his books. It's good stuff. It's warm, fuzzy, make you feel good. Can whatever, it might help you battle some internal battle, whatever. But I'm sorry, dude, it's not a freaking tactical book that I don't believe is going to help you make more money or lose weight. Like you need to be studying books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Think Like a Billionaire by Donald Trump. and get on your weight loss books, right? So that's what you need to be studying. You have to make sure it's in alignment with what you want. It's so easy with self-development. I hear people all the time, oh, Josh, I read this book. I'm like, okay, that's great, dude. And over the last 2 years, you've read all these books, but what have they done for you? Right? So outside of making you feel warm and fuzzy inside, and I'm not saying that I have a beef with motivation books or self-help books, but at the same point, if they're not helping you tactically accomplish your goals, they're really not doing shit for you, right? So like I like streaming that kind of stuff when I'm in the car, right? Like I'll stream, dude. I love Jim Rohn, love Darren Hardy. Those are the type of books, dude, that I'll stream when I'm driving in the car. Right, so I can hear it over and over and over, but I'm also, Tony Robbins, for example, he's another one that love Tony Robbins stuff, dude. Now it's not tactical stuff that's going to get me to where I want to be in my businesses. It's not tactical stuff that's going to get me to where I want to be with my health, but it's still good essential stuff. So I stream that kind of stuff while I'm driving or while I'm at the gym because at that point I'm kind of multitasking, right? Just kind of want to touch on that note with growing daily. So then number 6, dude, and this is one that people struggle with. Got to understand, dude, the number one regret when people die is not creating and living the life they wanted out of fear of being criticized and rejected by other people. We spend all this money that we don't have to impress people that we don't like and that don't like us, dude. You have to. So this is number 6. You can't become successful if you give a shit what people think about you, right? So, and I know I said earlier that Warren Buffett cares about displeasing people. He does and he doesn't. So he's been criticized like during the internet boom, right? Everybody criticized Warren. Oh, he's too old. He's lost his touch. He's lost it. His strategies don't work anymore. Like he got criticized so very heavily. He didn't waver from his approach. Then the internet bubble bursts. And now he's a freaking genius, right, to everybody. So what I'm saying is he doesn't like it when people criticize him or tear him down or when he lets somebody down. And nobody does. I shouldn't say nobody does, but I definitely don't. Like I get bashed, 5 or 6 times a day. Between YouTube, Facebook ads, whatever. I get some little punk bitch going on there talking shit. That's not successful. Like, have you ever seen a hater that's in a better spot than you are? I mean, I've yet to find one, right? They do it because they're trying to knock you off your pedestal. Because they're like, oh, crap, this person's doing big things. They're going after what they want in their life. They're leveling up. They're too much of a coward to go after what they want in life. So the next easiest thing to do is try to tear you down, knock you off your pedestal. That's the only reason they're doing it. I don't know any uber successful person. Everyone has the time to go out there and really criticize and bash people. And number 2, would ever do it. Most successful people become successful by lifting others up, never tearing people down. But you've got to learn to not care what people think. I don't mean that you won't still feel the emotion. I still feel the emotion when I get those comments. I still get a pit in my stomach. I don't enjoy it. I get called a friggin' D-bag or whatever else all these names I get called, dude. I don't enjoy it, right? But I don't give a shit either. So there's a difference. I don't enjoy it. It doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. But I don't give a shit, meaning it's not going to knock me off my path, right? I'm going to keep doing what I do. I don't care how many stone throwers there are out there. I'm going to keep pushing forward because I'm so clear on what I want and why I want it, and I know it's the right path that I'm going to keep pushing no matter what. And I don't care whom it is. Right? I don't care if it's some stranger online just wanting to talk smack on my YouTube channel, or if it's one of my parents. Like, I don't care, right? So, like I said, of course I care internally, meaning that I have the emotional feeling. But I don't allow the emotions. Average people operate their lives through emotions. They just do. Everything is what they eat is based on how they're feeling. The actions that they take is based on their feeling. Oh, I got to do these 20 sales calls today. Oh, I just don't feel like it. I've had a rough day. What do successful people do? Oh, man, I feel like shit. But I got to do these 20 calls. These are must-do calls, so I'm going to do these 20 calls no matter how I feel. The committed do what it takes to achieve the outcome that they want no matter what. I saw this post one time, and I've stolen it many times, from Ryan Blair that says, to be successful, you must learn to deal with crap. And crap standing for criticism, rejection, assholes, and pressure. You have to learn to quit caring what people think. People are going to throw criticism your way. They're going to talk smack. But who are these people? Ask yourself that. Who are these people? Right? Are they your neighbor down the street that's making horrible decisions? Are they average people? Right? I mean, who are these people? A long time ago, I made an internal commitment with myself that I will no longer listen to advice. Now, I'll hear advice. I hear advice all the time. People want to give me advice all the time, just like everybody in your life. I'm sure they want to give you advice, like parenting advice to financial advice to whatever. So I'll hear it, but I don't listen. There's a difference. I'll hear the words, and I'll be polite. I won't be rude to anybody trying to give me advice. But I only listen to those that have made it. Those that have achieved the outcome in life that I want to achieve, and at least that aspect of my life. So like parenting advice, for example. I got those people that want to give me parenting advice. I'm not going to take parenting advice from anybody that doesn't have the relationship with their kids and created the environment that I want to create with my kids. Now, if they've done it, if they've raised these just amazing, awesome kids, created this, this amazing environment for them, opportunities for them, I look up to them as a mentor, of course, then I'm going to listen to their advice. Somebody's trying to give me financial advice, right? I'm going to really, really assess it. Is it somebody, like one of my mentors right now makes millions and millions and millions, right? So I take advice from that person. I'm trying to get to the point where I make a certain amount of dollars per month to get to the income level that I want to be to by the end of this year, right? So of course, I'm going to listen to advice that they have to tell me because they've done it. They came from nothing and built what I'm trying to build or something similar. Marriage advice. Like, am I going to take marriage advice from my divorced buddy? No, dude. I mean, he might be able to give me some advice on like how not to screw shit up, but I'm going to hear it, but I'm not going to listen to him, right? So be very, very careful on that. You got to quit giving a shit what people say about you, what they think about you, because they're going to tear you down. Like, you have to learn to accept it. You got to understand it's coming. You got to know it's coming, and you got to accept it. And if you're not willing to, you are going to have a very, very, very difficult time leveling up and becoming great in this life. But you got to understand and go back to, I think it was like episode number 2 on why you need haters and why haters will help you become successful with these leveling up rounds. But it's only because they only hate on you because you make them feel shitty about themselves. Right? They hate on you. They're projecting on you about the way that they feel about themselves. Because you achieving success, you turning around your life, shows them that they have the choice, right, to turn it down or turn their life around as well. And because they're consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously choosing not to, it makes them feel crappy about themselves. Right? So they're just going to tell jokes, talk smack about you, whatever it may be, try to belittle you, try to tear you down. But it's only because, dude, deep down they're scared as shit. You make them feel uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable to be around. Like, you want to get to that point where, dude, all your old friends think you're a freaking freak. Right? That's the point that you want to be at. So, and then lastly, you guys, so those are the 6 steps to start immediately getting out of mediocrity, right? So again, number 1, get clarity, get crystal clear about what you want, eliminate everything that conflicts, work your ass off, reflect daily, grow daily, and quit giving a shit about what people think about you. And then I'm reading actually the book that I threw out there, name drop that book. I'm reading it right now, Donald Trump's Think Like a Billionaire. So he's got these top 10 ways to start thinking like a billionaire, to become a billionaire. And there was 3 of them that I picked out that I wanted to share. I'm not going to share all 10, but I felt like these were relevant today. And I just started reading that book this morning, and it's a pretty epic, amazing book so far. But he's like, all right. He's like, so if you want to become a billionaire, here's the mindset you got to adopt first. And if you don't, you're not going to make it, right? So his thing was, number 1, never take a vacation. Never take vacation. Right? So if you're like, oh crap, dude, I want to take a vacation. What he means by that is like we talked about before, you gotta be willing to work your ass off. Like, you gotta work your ass off. But also what he means by that is design a life that you love so much where you don't need a break from it. Like create a life, create work, create, and that's the point where I'm at in my life. Not saying I'm nowhere near where Donald Trump is. Not trying to say that by any means. No, we're not even close to the same level. Like, I'm a freaking, I don't know, fly in his world, right? Like, I'm a nothing, right? So, but what I mean by that is vacation to me is pain. Like, I hate being away from doing this every single day right now. I hate being away from, wasn't always this way. I had to go through a lot of crap, but every single day, if I'm not taking action on what I love to do, and I've incorporated that in how to get, I've learned how to monetize what I love doing, so that way I can make money on. So now vacations are paying. So I don't take vacations, right? So never, ever, ever take vacations. And he goes in there and starts talking about his, the billionaire club and his billionaire friends, and they just don't vacation, right? They create their work life into areas like Donald's like, dude, I'll jump on planes to, Mexico or wherever to go visit one of my 5-star golf courses that I built, but I'm working, right? So he's doing work in those spots. Second point that he talked up, and we already talked about this, but again, is work your ass off. I've never met any uber successful person that doesn't talk about the importance of work. The difference is successful people don't get criticized for it. When you're trying to get out of mediocrity, you'll get criticized for it. Right? Everybody else wants to keep you kind of in their tribe, keep you kind of in the mediocre cult, because again, it makes them feel better about you. So they're going to talk to you, and they're going to brag about how they worked over the system to get an extra day off, or they worked over the system to, whatever, or they brag about vacation time, all this crap, dude. You want to move away from those conversations. If you're at a corporate America job where you have vacation, cool. Get that vacation time, but then what do you do on that vacation time? Start growing a business on the side. People always come to me and like, dude, Josh, like I work full time. How can I create this side business? I'm maybe a real estate agent, but I also work 40 hours a week. I'm like, all right, dude, what about the other 168 hours in a week? Like you can sleep very little for some big portions of your time. Like you can figure out how to sleep very little and work your ass off. Like there's no reason you can't have 2 full-time 40-hour-a-week jobs. No reason. Unless you're freaking lazy and you choose not to. There's absolutely no reason you can't do it, right? And then his third point, which of course I had to throw this in there because I love it, but he states in there, sleep as little as humanly possible. So he talks in there about how he only sleeps 4 hours every single night and how that one-ups him on all of his competition. If he only needs 4 hours and his competition's getting 8 or 10 hours, he's got a one-up on him, dude. Every single day, he's able to get more hours in, get more self-development in, and outwork them. So figure out how you can sleep as little as possible. Now, I know I'll get criticized on the show. I always got this chick, I can't remember her name, but she always blows me up, dude, privately about this whole sleep thing and how I'm giving the worst advice ever and, and but of course she never really rebuttals or like gets back to me about what I try to tell her. She just keeps throwing freaking newspaper articles and shit or online articles at what I say. Or some bullshit on WebMD, which we all know is a bunch of fluff crap. What I'm saying is just experiment a little bit. If you start working out, taking care of your body, start putting good fuel into your system, good organic food, drinking a ton of water, you will find that you need less and less sleep, right? So when we talked about this, entrepreneurship is sacrificing a certain section of your life. Well, you're going to live like nobody else, so then you can live the rest of your life like nobody else, right? Like I don't plan, maybe I will, but I don't know. I mean, at this point in my life, like I don't plan on sleeping 4 hours a night or sometimes 3.5 hours a night for the rest of my life. No, I'm going to do it to hit the level of success that I want. And then hopefully at that point, I can delegate a lot more and get more talent in those areas. And I know it down. We've got it automated. We have systems in place where now I can maybe get 5 hours of sleep. Right? But there's no way in hell I'm ever going to go back to 8 hours of sleep, right? Like I've just found with my body, if I take care of my body in certain ways, like 8 hours, I feel sluggish, I feel like shit, right? Even 6 hours, I feel like crap. So if you can figure out, it's just simple math. If you need 8 hours of sleep and I only need 4, and then if I'm willing to work 80 or 100 hours a week and you're only willing to work the average American of 37, who do you think's going to win? Right? So who's going to win, dude? I'll bet on the guy that doesn't need to eat or sleep that's going to grind. Right? So anyway, you guys, those are the 6 steps. You got to learn to avoid mediocrity like the plague. Avoid average like the plague, dude. The only way to break out of something is to run away from it, right? You've got to run away, dude. You've got to do everything you possibly can to mentally block, physically block anything and everything average and mediocrity, mediocre in your life, and start surrounding yourself with other people that are achieving greatness, that are leveling up. Work at it every single day. So anyway, you guys, I hope you found this useful. Don't be like the average homeboy or homegirl out there. Again, average person. Well, 98% of Americans can't retire at the age of 65 years old without being dependent on family members. 75% of Americans are overweight, 40% obese, 80% hate their job, 74% living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they lose their job. They're immediately dependent on government aid. Like, why do you want that? Don't get in credit card debt up to your eyeballs like the average person. They may look like they have this cool, awesome, flashy life. Guarantee they're in so much freaking debt, that you'd throw up if you knew the reality, right? So go out there, create that epic life, become great, keep leveling up. Hope you found this helpful. Keep crushing it, you guys. Keep dominating. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.